What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so I'll put a link to this article in the pinned comment in the comment section below. So, a new poll puts President Joe Biden's approval rating at an all-time low for him. A new ABC News and Washington Post poll puts President Joe Biden's approval rating at just 36%, which is 6 points lower than the poll from last month and 1 point less than his previous poll low back in early 2022. Well, before I go further, shout out to the brother LB, the sports and political channel of LB, for disclosing this information. All right, please subscribe to his channel. In this poll, close to 6 out of 10, or 56%, of those polled say they disapprove of the job that he was doing. And 68%, more than two-thirds, feel that Joe Biden, who is 80 years old and will turn 81, I think it's in December of this year, is too old for another term. Only 32% said they felt Biden had the, quote, mental sharpness it takes to serve effectively as president, compared to 63% who did not. Even Democrats, rank and file Democrats, seem unsold on Biden. A majority of Democrats sold, 58%, said they would rather their party pick someone else to be the presidential nominee. The poll also showed Biden was falling behind President Trump nationally. 38% said that they would support Joe Biden, while 44% said they would support Trump. Now, of course, I'm assuming that means that about, 18% are unsure at this point, so I wouldn't take too much stock in these polls as far as presidential candidates or who they prefer. But it is alarming that Biden is only polling in the 30s, an incumbent president. Biden also trailed Ron DeSantis. In a hypothetical matchup, Biden 37%, DeSantis 42%. DeSantis has not made an official announcement on his candidacy, but he is widely expected to at some point. This poll has a plus margin of error at 3.5 percentage points. Now, what does this mean? Well, to me, it shows that Biden may have some serious problems being reelected. All right? I think this election is going to be, even though the media might try to spin it and make it about Trump, this election is going to be a referendum on Joe Biden. Now, you may recall when Barack Obama was reelected in 2012 over Mitt Romney, he was reelected by a reduced margin over his 2008 victory, which was not really that unexpected considering that the 2008 election, a lot of those votes were anti-Republican, anti-McCain, or maybe really realistically anti-Bush votes. But since Bush wasn't on the ballot because he was constitutionally barred from running for a third term, a lot of people were just voting anti-Republican when they were voting for Barack Obama. And there's also evidence to support and to suggest that had Obama been, some general white candidate, that he probably would have won an even bigger victory. Maybe 2 percentage points more in the popular vote, cracking 400 electoral college votes, something of that nature. But anyway, Barack Obama was reelected, but by a reduced margin. Biden couldn't afford a reduced margin election. He can't. Yes, he did beat Trump by 7 million votes. But you have to keep in mind how polarized the election is. And a lot of Biden's margin came from landslide victories in California and New York. And when you take those two states out of it, the remaining 48 states in District of Columbia the vote was essentially tied throughout the country. So Joe Biden is in some trouble, most definitely. A lot of people feel dissatisfied about how the country's going as far as culturally, socially. They feel like Biden is leading this country in the wrong direction. There is still, even though the media doesn't pick up on it, there are still a lot of civil rights violations being committed on a daily basis, let alone weekly basis, toward African Americans. But because Biden is a Democrat and not a Republican, the mainstream media doesn't pick up on these stories. Just imagine if that individual, the man who was choked by that Marine, say if that had happened in 2019, you don't think the media would be talking about that constantly? Talking about all these instances where black citizens are being assaulted by police officers or assaulted by everyday citizens. You don't think that they would be talking about these things more if Trump was president? Absolutely they would. And the fact that Joe Biden is clearly a person in mental decline. I mean, he's always been a guy that was a gaffe machine, but it's not just that. You can clearly see that he is way past his prime. He gets lost in conversations. You know, he loses his train of thought midway through sentences. And it's not an attack on Joe Biden. It's just to point out the fact that he is simply too old. He's already 80. He would be 81 years old if renominated, and if elected, he'd be 82 years old at his second inaugural, and then 86 when he leaves his second term. Now, I'm not saying Trump is a better option himself, because, you know, Trump ain't a spring chicken either. Trump is 76. He'll be 77 this summer. So at the end of the day, man, I can understand the dissatisfaction in polling, the dissatisfaction within the Democratic Party, the rank and file. He's old. You know, he seems semi-incompetent. Kamala Harris is not the answer. Her presence on the ticket, especially for a guy who, like Biden, is aging rapidly, it scares people, because there is, with Kamala Harris, a higher than normal risk that if Biden is reelected, being that he would be an octogenarian, well into his 80s, yeah, there is this risk that she could become president. But anyway, just thought I'd put that out there for you guys. Tell me what you guys think.